You were in worship yesterday. There was no sermon, and you were overjoyed. And this evening, you're not so lucky. Maybe they want you back up here dancing, Lisa. I don't know. Dr. Seuss lets us know that the Grinch lives above Whoville, and it is Christmas time. The Grinch hates Christmas. In fact, it seems that the Grinch hates everything. Most of all, though, he hates the joy the Whos have on Christmas Day when they open their presents, when they ring their bells, and when they sing. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town, where he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming. And we know, of course, that the Grinch decides that it would be a super stellar plan, that if he dresses up as Santa Claus and he puts antlers on his dog Max to make him into a reindeer, and the Grinch will sneak into all of the houses of the Whos, and he'll steal their trees and their presents and even their food. That way they can't celebrate Christmas at all. That way they'll be just as miserable as he is. Then the Grinch said, "Get up," and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were dreaming sweet dreams without care when he came to the first little house on the square. "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bag in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings he Grinched are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox, he took the Who's feast, he took the Who pudding, he took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash, while that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Once he's taken everything from everyone, and we see in our minds that full sleigh, the Grinch goes up to Mount Crumpet and he sits with Max. But before he dumps all of the Christmas decorations and the presents over the side of the mountain, he sits and he waits. He wants to hear their misery. He wants to hear their crying, the sorrow of the Whos, who he believes are waking up right now and realizing that Christmas isn't coming because the trees and the decorations, the presents and the food are all gone. He's anticipating hurt and anger, a very different kind of Christmas than the Whos normally have. The sun rises just as the Grinch is about to gloat over his victory. The Whos come out of their houses after realizing everything is gone, and they stand hand in hand and they sing. The people who have been robbed of what the Grinch thought Christmas was all about are joyous. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, needs a little bit more. We know that the Grinch's heart grows 3 sizes that day. He is moved by the joy of the Who's. He is moved by their love. He and his trusty dog, Max, of course, return everything. And in a total radical move of forgiveness, the Who's invite him to dinner and even let him carve the roast beast that he stole in the first place. Out of love, he goes from being the thief to the guest of honor at their Christmas table. My 3-year-old niece Kinsley is obsessed with the Grinch right now, thanks to the new movie. In fact, tonight she has left Santa cookies on a plate with the Grinch's face, and has left Santa milk in a cup with the Grinch's face. And to prepare her for going to see the new movie, I bought her the 1966 version. And when I asked her about it, she gave me the overview, and this is what she said. The Grinch has a dog, and he's kind of cute. His name is Max. And the Grinch, Aunt Haley, he's very naughty. He steals presents and even trees. But then he gives them all back because he learns to love people. Through the last 4 weeks of Advent, we've talked about hope, peace, joy, and love. We celebrate a baby born out of love for the world. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him may not perish but have eternal life. A love so enormous that sometimes we have issues fully accepting it because we're human beings. A baby born amongst animals because there was no room at the inn in which Joseph and Mary tried to acquire a room for the night. Luke 2:7 states, because there was no place for them at the inn. And we often think poorly of the person running the inn. History hasn't been kind. Why didn't they have a room? Even if there were lots of travelers there because of the census, didn't they know what was happening? Didn't they know how important it was for a woman to have a safe place to have a baby, let alone Mary, who's giving birth to the Christ child? But notice how in the Christmas story, when the angel appears, the angel never appears to the inn owner. Instead of at her own home, or even a bedroom at the inn, or even in a field, Mary gives birth to this present to the world, to the light of the world amongst the animals. And she places the Christ child where the animals eat. And he takes his first nap there. He cries there. She wraps him up in whatever cloth is available. Imagine how hard this is for Mary. This is her first child, and I'm sure as much as she wants to be rid of these labor pains, she has some reservations about giving birth next to all these animals. On the road, away from home, away from anyone in her family other than Joseph. Now imagine Joseph's stress level. There's no room available, and he wants everything to be okay. He wants Mary to be okay. He wants this baby to be okay. There's stress in his helping Mary deliver this him, who is helping Mary deliver this baby? Joseph is a little stressed out. Has he ever helped deliver a baby before? We don't know. He knows this child is important. An angel has showed up to tell him this child is important. So there is a lot of stress in this situation. Even though he knows God is with him, even though we always know God is with us, stress is still a thing. And I imagine the animals are there trying to figure out what this new animal is that's all bundled up and sitting in their feeding trough. This thing sure does make some weird noises. It sure smells kind of funny. A humble beginning in love. A humbleness that defines Jesus as we know him. A Savior who quietly comes into our world in less than ideal circumstances, but who will change the world with his love, who is born to change our lives. Like the Who's, we know that Christmas is about something more than packages, boxes, and bags. On Christmas, we remember the present given to us, the birth of Jesus, the Christ. A present for us all, for the world. The one who teaches us how to live and to love. The one who not only tells us to love one another and to say that we love one another, but he's the one who tells us to act like we love one another. Love personified. An example of how we should act. The present of Christ. The presence of Christ. On Christmas and all days. Always reaching to us in love. Each of us is an innkeeper who decides if we have enough room for him. Every day can be Christmas. We may not get presents every day to unwrap, and we probably honestly don't want to give presents every day for people to unwrap either, because that's super not economically sound. And I think that if we gave presents to each other every day, it would lose its magic. It would lose its meaning, its significance. If we had our birthday every day, it wouldn't be a special day. But every day can be Christmas because we have the presence of the one who calls us into discipleship. The one who came into the world as an often screaming, crying, stinky infant. The one who grew up, ministered to people, healed people, talked with people, listened to people, and who was crucified and resurrection so that we may know eternal life and love. At this time, I invite our elders and our deacons for the evening to join me at the table.